Okay, everyone, the public hearing on Ordinance 9138 is now open. Ordinance 9138 amends and adopts sections of the city's zoning code at Chapter 150 of our city's codified ordinances. Interested parties may express their views at this public hearing and submit evidence supporting those views. The information shared will become part of the city's permanent record and may be used by council members in deciding whether or not to adopt the ordinance. So during our public hearings, we usually have 4 parts. First, the staff report. Second, the applicant's testimony. Third, public testimony. And fourth, discussion by members of city council. We usually receive a staff report from Planning Director Heather Saylor to begin, but she is unable to be with us this evening. So Heather has sent ahead her report that we're going to review at this time. Heather's report is 2 pages, guys. There's 2 parts to Ordinance 9138. The first makes changes to Section 150.44, accessory uses, and the second makes changes to 150.72, off-street parking. The Planning Commission held a public hearing and recommended approval of the proposed text amendments in October. In Heather's report, she takes us through the changes the administration is proposing for these 2 sections of Chapter 150. I'll read from that right now. So the proposed changes to Section 150.44 F2, accessory uses, are being requested to specifically address the setback and location of patios by adding a letter 150.44 F2D. This proposed change would allow patios to be located a minimum of 3 feet from property lines and not within utility easements. Currently, patios under our new code most frequently are considered attached to a house. These patios would not be allowed under the current code in any of the setbacks mandated by the zone or district a parcel is located in according to the accessory use table, which is table 22 of our code. These setbacks are the same as a house, and this has become problematic for some homeowners, wishing to install a patio. The prior zoning code required a 3-foot setback, which Heather tells us worked well for her office. So staff is requesting to use this requirement and add the stipulation regarding utility easements. Okay, so part 2 of Ordinance 9138 makes changes to Section 150.72A. There's minor changes at A to use consistent terms. Heather tells us that the more significant is the staff request to add a subletter C, which would allow off-street parking and vehicular access ways in the front yard in the IE, Innovation and Employment Zone, and the IC, Interstate Commerce District. She tells us that the off-street parking and vehicular access ways would still have to conform to the minimum front yard setback for the zone or district. In practical application of these regulations, she says, on recent site plan reviews, she and staff have discovered the way front yard is defined under our new code does not allow any parking or driveways in front of a building, which staff has found simply not realistic for types of larger developments, including industrial or heavier commercial users like gas stations. Okay, I'll end quotes from this report there. So our second part of our public hearing, guys, is usually applicant testimony. This ordinance originated with the city administration, so there will be no additional applicant testimony at this time. So we will now hear any testimony from the public. Are there members of the public who would like to address the committee at this time, or did we receive any correspondence on this, Jody?
We did not.
Okay. So now we're to the fourth part of our public hearing, which is discussion by council members. Greg or Nick, any comments here?
Yes, I think this is an appropriate corrective amendment, and I intend to support it.
I also agree with the Planning Commission's recommendation.
Okay, I too intend to support this. It makes a lot of sense. I think little things like this will come up as we implement our new zoning code, and I wouldn't be surprised if we have more of these in the pipeline. Okay, thank you, everyone. This concludes the public hearing on ordinance 9138.